Alright lads, we just got going for Safety Week this week. Just to make everyone aware lads, there's a video link on a daily basis, and the video link shared out by Jacobs, and there'll be a different topic on every single day as we go through Safety Week.
Quality is remembered, quality and safety are remembered when you go off the job. The price will sometimes just be the price, but the quality and the safety are always remembered off the job.
The induction under this project was actually quite vigorous. They go through a lot of the procedures that must be followed on a day-to-day basis. Everything is detailed and set out before we ever set foot on site to ensure we know the correct procedures to follow in order to do things safely.
One of the main risks for us in the project is working in live areas, live switch rooms. And one of the greatest dangers there is the danger of arc flash.
So arc flash can cause serious harm, injury, death and serious property damage. Let's take a look at a couple of examples here next.
If there was one thing I'd like to get to take away from this, lads, is never to take chances, never to take risks. The consequences could be fatal.
Okay, so basically the panel is now locked out. The keys of these here locks will be locked in the lockbox. So when an individual or electrician comes to work on this panel that feeds downstream, he'll have a single line drawing explaining him where the panel is fed from. He will then put on his own personal lock on the lockbox. So basically it prevents unauthorised people energizing services coming from this panel.
My job is to make sure that we hit the programme target dates. Probably the most challenging part out there is doing it safely. And in the current climate, there's not an emphasis with COVID-19 that we'll have to meet current regulations and adhere to all protocols on site and ensure that everybody's doing that correctly and safely.
For safety reasons, the general consensus is to assume all services are live, even if they're not. At the start of the project, when the main runs are going in, usually they try to leave the live services off, but again, if you're in an area where there are services, it's best just to always assume that it's live.
Obviously on this project we are working around live services. There are a number of protocols in place. Protocols are around two main areas. The first one being control and the second one being communication. The controls that we deal with in our everyday job are: number one, SPAs, that's a safe plan of action. Number two is the work permits. Number two being communication, which it's done on site via toolbox talks and site huddles, which happen here on the front line.
Come to a scene like this, and either you've seen somebody falling on the ground, or if you approach the scene and you see somebody on the ground like this, the last thing you want to do is run in, go up, touch him. You could be part of that incident. You're going to get electrocuted if you go touch him, if there's an electric source, power source coming into him. Next thing to do is make sure that you alert our emergency response team on site and tell them it's code red and tell them the area and what the incident is. So let them know that somebody's been electric shock, there might be power in the area, there might be a risk of voltage. So let that emergency response team know that. They'll come to the area. If I'm treating this as an emergency response, if I can, I turn off the panel at the source. If that's not possible, the next thing we're going to do is try and make sure we separate him safely from the source. If we find that it's a low voltage system that he's been electrocuted by, then we can get the shepherd's hook and we can pull him away from that source of energy. I'll just demonstrate how this will be used. It's vital that we don't hold above this point, we have to hold the handle. So when using the shepherd's hook, we approach the person, the casualty, and we need to separate the source from him. So if there's a cable, we just try and loop the cable away, and we just drag him across and away from the source.
Before we start any work activity, there's a sequence in place in order to reduce risk. So you have your method statements, you have your permits, which will be signed off throughout management and the health and safety team on site. You then have your SPA, so it's your detailed step-by-step process of how you would go about doing the job safe as possible. And you have a step back, so while the SPA would detail how you would do a job safely, things might have changed since you've last left that job. So a step back ensures that you take a step back and review the situation and make sure that everything is still safe to continue.
Make sure that you're putting in all your correct details at the end of the day for all these systems so that no mistake can happen.
The quality and the safety are always remembered off the job.